Today, we are honored to introduce Stephen Pullum, the visionary founder of AfricurityAI, a company making waves in the global AI and cybersecurity landscape. Stephen Pullum isn't just an expert, he's a game changer. Named one of CIO Today magazine's top 5 AI leaders driving impact in 2024, his work has been featured in Human magazine in Munich, Germany, where he shares deep insights into AI's transformative potential across industries. And his influence? It's truly global. From working with the U.S. Department of State's Overseas Security Advisory Council to contributing to ethical AI policies at the European Union AI Office, Stephen is shaping the future of AI on an international scale. At AfricurityAI, Stephen leads groundbreaking initiatives spanning executive cyber and AI leadership, AI risk management, cyber intelligence, and ethical AI strategy development. Whether it's tackling deepfake counterintelligence, training the next generation of cyber professionals, or resolving international cyber conflicts, he's at the forefront of it all. But beyond the tech, Stephen is a passionate advocate for responsible AI. He's an active voice in organizations like the National Artificial Intelligence Advisory Committee (NAIAC) and the Responsible AI Institute, pushing for ethical frameworks, stronger policies, and public awareness. His message? AI must be developed responsibly, with transparency and integrity. So, get ready for an eye-opening discussion. Stephen Pullum is here to share his journey, his insights, and what the future holds for AI and cybersecurity. Trust me, you won't want to miss this.
All right, so you're a cybersecurity pro, and you're thinking, okay, AI is everywhere. How do I actually get into that world? Well, today, we're building you a roadmap.
Yeah, an actual roadmap, not just a list of the top 10 certifications you see everywhere.
Exactly, and we're going beyond those generic lists. We're going to map out a path that's tailored to your cybersecurity skills and what you actually want to do with AI. Think of this as your AI certification GPS.
I like that.
So for this deep dive, we've got an incredible guide, Stephen Pullum, the founder of AfricurityAI.
The guy's actually done this transition himself, cybersecurity into AI.
Yeah, and he's documented every step of his journey, which is amazing. He's even listed the specific certifications he got in AI, blockchain, even fintech.
That's the thing. He doesn't just list out the certifications. He actually breaks down his whole learning process.
And he splits it into 2 main parts. He calls them societal and technical.
Which makes sense, right? It's not just about the tech skills. You need to understand the whole impact of AI, like how it's changing the world.
Okay, so let's start with this societal side of things. Pullum took some interesting courses here, like AI and law from London University.
Human factors in AI, too.
And even international cyber conflicts.
Wow.
So for someone coming from cybersecurity, why are these areas so important when moving into AI?
Well, think about it. In cybersecurity, you're already dealing with sensitive data, privacy regulations like high pay, and the potential for, things to go wrong.
Right.
Now you add AI on top of that.
Another layer of complexity.
Exactly. So you need to know how AI systems could create new vulnerabilities, how data privacy laws might change with AI, and even how AI could be used as a weapon in cyber conflicts.
So it's not just about building AI, it's about building it responsibly.
That's the key, and that's why he went for that Wharton AI strategy and governance certification.
So it's about anticipating those potential risks, building trust in AI systems, and making sure AI is developed and deployed ethically.
Right. It's like adding another dimension to your cybersecurity skill set, risk assessment and mitigation, but for the age of AI.
Okay, so for someone listening who's like, okay, I get the whole societal thing, but how do I actually get the technical skills for AI? Where does Pullum take us next?
Well, he breaks down the technical domain even further into social, vendor, and technical subdomains.
Subdomains. Interesting.
Yeah, he's got a really layered approach to this, starting with understanding how AI is actually being used and misused in the real world.
Okay, let's start with that social subdomain.
Yeah.
What kind of certifications are we talking about?
Well, Pullum got certified in advanced cyber and social media intelligence analysis, and even a ChatGPT masterclass.
Wait, ChatGPT? Really?
Yeah. You might not expect that, but it highlights a crucial point about AI in cybersecurity. You need to understand how AI is playing out in the social media world, the good and the bad.
So we're talking about deepfakes, AI-powered misinformation campaigns, all of those things.
Exactly. And think about how AI is used for social engineering attacks.
Oh, right.
Your cybersecurity background gives you a head start here. You already know how systems can be exploited, how to analyze data to see if there's malicious intent.
Now it's applying that to the social media world,
Yeah.
where AI is becoming a powerful tool.
A powerful tool for both good guys and bad guys.
So this social subdomain is about recognizing the human element in AI security. And then how does this connect to the vendor subdomain?
So that's where we dive into specific AI platforms and tools. Pullum worked extensively with Google Cloud, Salesforce, and Microsoft Learn AI program.
Those are like the big players in AI, right?
Exactly, the companies that are really shaping how AI is being developed and used.
Okay, so we're talking about vendor-specific certifications now.
Yep. And those can seem pretty niche, but they hold a lot of value.
How so?
Well, think about it. You're a cybersecurity pro. Maybe you have your CISSP.
Solid foundation.
Now, add on a Google Cloud Professional Machine Learning Engineer certification or a Microsoft Azure AI Engineer Associate. Suddenly, you're not just a cybersecurity expert. You're a cybersecurity expert who can work with AI on the platforms companies are actually using.
You're speaking their language, so to speak.
Exactly. You're showing them that you can actually get things done in the real world.
That's like you're taking your cybersecurity expertise and translating it into the language of AI.
Yeah, and even within those vendor programs, Pullum was smart about it. He picked certifications that would directly apply to cybersecurity. For example, the Google Cloud Professional Cloud Security Engineer certification.
Right, because that dives into securing cloud infrastructure and applications, which is a huge part of cybersecurity these days.
Exactly. Everything's moving to the cloud.
Okay, so we've got the societal foundation, the social awareness, and now vendor expertise. What's next in this technical domain journey? Where does the technical subdomain come in?
This is where we get into the nitty-gritty, the tools and the techniques for working with AI at a deeper level.
Okay, so we're getting into the weeds now.
A bit, yeah. Pullum talks about tools like BurpGPT, DarkBert, and of course, ChatGPT.
Everyone's talking about ChatGPT these days.
Right. These are the tools that can seriously supercharge your cybersecurity work, but they need a different kind of technical know-how.
So I'm imagining someone who's not just using these AI tools, but actually tweaking them, customizing them.
Maybe even building their own AI-powered security solutions.
Wow, that's next level.
To do that, you need those certifications in AI programming languages like Python and frameworks like TensorFlow or PyTorch.
Those are like the building blocks for AI, right?
They are. They let you develop, train, and deploy your own AI models. Imagine creating an AI that analyzes network traffic for anything suspicious.
Or predicts phishing attacks before they even happen.
Exactly. That's the kind of power these certifications can give you.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from the big picture societal domain to the nuts and bolts of these technical subdomains. Before we go any further, though, let's take a step back.
Yeah.
How does Pullum's own certification path, all this stuff we've been talking about, relate to those emerging technologies like quantum computing and how they could completely change our approach to cybersecurity?
That's a great question, and something we'll definitely dive into in the next part of our deep dive.
It's a big topic.
But the thing to remember is that Pullum's whole approach to professional development is about being ready for whatever comes next in tech.
So even though we haven't talked about quantum computing specifically, the foundational skills and knowledge you get from these certifications can be applied to those emerging threats and technologies.
That's right.
It's about building a flexible skill set that can evolve as the cybersecurity landscape changes.
Because the only constant in tech is change.
That's incredibly valuable insight, and I'm sure our listeners are eager to learn more about how to apply these concepts to quantum computing and other emerging threats. We'll jump into that fascinating discussion in part 2 of our deep dive.
All right, welcome back. As promised, we're going to shift gears a bit and talk about how Stephen Pullum's approach to AI certification ties into all these emerging technologies we keep hearing about, especially quantum computing.
Yeah, quantum computing, that's where things get really interesting for me. We've been building this roadmap of AI certifications, but now we're adding in quantum computing.
It's like we're stepping into the future of cybersecurity.
Right. It sounds like science fiction, but it's becoming more and more real every day.
It is, and cybersecurity pros need to be ready for it.
Absolutely.
What's fascinating is that quantum computing isn't just about new threats. It's about rethinking how we approach security as a whole.
Okay, I'm all ears. How does a certification in Python or TensorFlow help someone deal with quantum cybersecurity?
Well, let's think about cryptography for a second. Right now, most of our online security relies on encryption algorithms that are really hard for regular computers to crack.
But quantum computers could change that, right?
Exactly. They have the potential to break those algorithms because they can do calculations way faster than traditional computers.
So online transactions, private data, Everything we rely on for secure communication could be at risk.
That's the worry. But here's where those AI skills we talked about come in. To develop new encryption that can stand up to quantum computers, you need a deep understanding of both cryptography and quantum computing principles. And guess what? Those Python and TensorFlow skills that you use for AI, they're also being used in quantum computing research.
So by learning these AI tools, you're not just prepping for an AI-driven world, you're also getting ready for a quantum future.
You got it. It's like building a bridge to the next generation of cybersecurity.
I love that analogy.
And it's not just about cryptography either. Quantum computing could change how we approach intrusion detection, threat analysis. Imagine using a quantum computer to analyze huge amounts of network traffic. You could spot anomalies or predict cyber attacks way faster and more accurately than we can now.
That sounds incredibly powerful, but also kind of scary. It feels like we're going to need a whole new set of skills, maybe even new certifications to handle this quantum future.
We might, and while quantum computing certifications are still pretty new, the good news is that the industry is waking up to this threat.
That's good to hear.
Organizations like the IE are working on standards and frameworks for quantum cybersecurity, and universities are starting to offer courses in this area.
So the groundwork is being laid for a new wave of quantum-savvy cybersecurity professionals.
Exactly. Now, we can't predict exactly what those future certifications will look like, but we can look at the skills Pullum emphasizes in his AI journey and see how they connect.
So things like problem-solving, adaptability, a strong foundation in math and computer science, those will all be valuable in the quantum age.
Absolutely. And don't forget about continuous learning. The quantum computing field is changing so fast, so staying curious, keeping up with the latest research that's going to be crucial.
Always be learning.
Now, along with quantum computing, Pullum also got certified in blockchain technology. Remember, he holds that certified blockchain security professional certification.
Right. And we've been hearing a lot about blockchain revolutionizing cybersecurity.
Yeah, but there are potential risks too. Cybersecurity pros need to be aware of those as well.
So what are some of the blockchain-specific threats that we should be thinking about?
Well, the key thing to remember about blockchain is that it's decentralized and distributed. That makes it tough to tamper with, but it also opens up some new ways to attack it.
So instead of focusing on protecting one central server or database, we need to think about securing the whole network and every single node within it.
You got it. And that requires a different kind of security thinking. One of the biggest threats is what's called a 51% attack.
I've heard that term, but I'm not sure I totally understand it. Can you break it down for me?
Sure. Imagine a blockchain network where one person or group controls more than 50% of the computing power.
Okay.
They could potentially manipulate the blockchain. Think double spending coins, or even blocking transactions from going through.
So it's like they hijack the blockchain.
In a way, yes. And while these attacks are hard to pull off, they're not impossible, especially on smaller blockchain networks.
So as a cybersecurity professional, what do you need to know to protect against that kind of attack?
You need a deep understanding of how blockchain works, the consensus mechanisms, the cryptography involved. You need to be able to spot vulnerabilities and develop strategies to prevent or mitigate attacks.
That sounds pretty intense.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's where a certification like the Certified Blockchain Security Professional becomes really valuable.
Right. It shows you've got that specialized knowledge.
Exactly. And it's not just about 51% attacks either. There are other blockchain-specific threats, like vulnerabilities in smart contracts.
Smart contracts, those are the self-executing contracts on the blockchain, right?
That's right. And they have incredible potential, but they can also be vulnerable to exploits.
So we're talking about bugs in the code, malicious actors, figuring out how to manipulate the smart contract to steal money or disrupt how things are supposed to work.
Exactly. As more and more people use blockchain, we need more cybersecurity pros who understand these vulnerabilities and can build secure, resilient smart contracts.
It's amazing how these new technologies are making us rethink our approach to cybersecurity. It's not just about protecting data anymore. It's about securing entire networks and complex systems built on top of them.
Absolutely. And that's why Pullum's approach to getting certified is so relevant. He's not just chasing the latest tech trends, he's building a solid base of knowledge and skills that he can adapt to whatever comes next in cybersecurity.
So we've talked about quantum computing, blockchain, any other emerging technologies that cybersecurity pros should be keeping an eye on.
Absolutely. One we haven't touched on yet is the metaverse. Remember, the metaverse is essentially a persistent, immersive digital world.
Right, where users can interact with each other in virtual objects.
Exactly. It's a digital space where people can work, play, socialize, even do business.
Sounds exciting, but also potentially a bit of a security nightmare.
Well, yeah, there are unique cybersecurity challenges in the metaverse. For one, you're talking about protecting user identities and data in a virtual environment.
So imagine someone stealing your avatar, your virtual stuff, or your personal information.
Exactly. It's like identity theft, but in a whole new dimension.
Whoa.
Then you've got to think about securing virtual assets and transactions. We're already seeing virtual real estate being bought and sold for millions of dollars.
Or millions.
Yeah, it's crazy. So how do we protect those assets from theft or fraud?
Sounds like the same cybersecurity principles apply, but in a completely different setting.
That's right. And we're also talking about preventing data breaches and even combating virtual crime. Imagine a denial of service attack that shuts down an entire virtual world, or malware that infects avatars and spreads like a virus.
That's wild.
It is, and that's why it's so important for cybersecurity professionals to be at the forefront of this metaverse revolution. We need people who can see the risks, come up with innovative solutions, and make sure the metaverse is safe and secure for everyone.
So it's not just about learning new tech, but about adapting our whole cybersecurity mindset to this new digital landscape.
Exactly. We need to be proactive, adaptable, and constantly learning and evolving our skills to stay ahead of the curve.
It sounds like the future of cybersecurity is going to be a wild ride.
It is. But it's also an incredibly exciting time to be in this field. With new challenges come new opportunities to innovate, to make a difference, and to shape the future of our digital world.
So all this talk about emerging technologies and quantum threats has got me thinking, how does all this new stuff fit into the certification roadmap we've been talking about? Where do we even start to prioritize?
That's a great question, and it's one we'll explore in more depth in Part 3 of our deep dive. We'll look at specific certifications and learning paths that can help you develop the expertise you need to tackle these emerging cybersecurity challenges head-on.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive, from AI ethics and governance to quantum computing, blockchain, even the metaverse. Now, let's actually build that personalized certification roadmap for you.
Right, because it's not about getting every single certification out there.
It's about making smart choices, choosing the certifications that actually align with your goals, your interests.
And with what you want to do with AI and cybersecurity.
Exactly. So let's say you're a cybersecurity pro and you're ready to jump into AI. Where do you even start?
Well, Stephen Pullum's approach gives us a really good blueprint. He didn't jump straight into those super technical certifications.
Right, he focused on the foundation first.
Yeah, he built that solid foundation in AI ethics, law, and governance. And that's actually really smart.
Why is that?
Well, for one thing, those foundational certifications show employers that you're not just thinking about the tech, but about the responsible use of AI.
Which is huge these days.
It's becoming more and more important. It's not just about can you build it, it's should you build it, and if so, how?
I see. So certifications like the AI and Law program from London University or the Wharton AI Strategy and Governance certification, those are good places to start.
Yeah, those are great starting points. They give you that big picture understanding of AI.
So you're not just thinking about the code, you're thinking about the consequences.
Exactly. And then as you move into the technical side of things, it's about what you want to specialize in.
Do you want to focus on a specific AI platform? Or do you want to have a broader skill set that works across different platforms?
Right. So if you're looking at those platform-specific certifications, there are great ones like the Google Cloud Professional Machine Learning Engineer or the Microsoft Azure AI Engineer Associate.
Those are definitely industry-recognized certifications.
They are. And they show you know how to work with the tools companies are actually using.
And then for a more general approach, there are certifications like the Certified Artificial Intelligence Expert from the Blockchain Council, or the Certified Ethical Emerging Technologist from CertNexus.
Those are great because they give you those core AI concepts and cover those ethical considerations.
And they can be applied to different AI applications, not just one specific platform.
Exactly.
But we can't forget about those specialized AI tools we talked about,
Right.
like BERT-GPT and DarkBERT.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that really require that deep dive into programming.
Oh, yeah. For those, you need those certifications in Python, TensorFlow, and PyTorch.
The heavy hitters.
Yeah. If you want to build and deploy your own AI models, especially for cybersecurity, Those are essential.
It's like taking your cybersecurity skills to the next level.
Yeah.
You're not just using AI tools, you're building them.
You're becoming an AI-powered cybersecurity expert.
And like we said before, those skills are also going to be super important for dealing with those quantum computing threats down the line.
Right, it's all connected.
And then there's blockchain. We can't forget about that. Pullum has those certifications too.
Yeah, he's got the Certified Blockchain Security Professional and, of course, the CISSP.
Those show a commitment to both traditional cybersecurity and this new world of blockchain security.
It's about seeing how those two worlds are coming together.
And how to use those technologies to build more secure systems.
Exactly. So, to sum it all up, crafting your own personalized certification roadmap is a process.
It takes time, and you need to think about your goals, your interests, and how the whole landscape of AI and cybersecurity is changing.
It's not about collecting as many certifications as you can.
It's about focusing on the ones that'll actually give you the knowledge and skills to succeed in this field, which is constantly evolving.
And Stephen Pullum's journey shows us that continuous learning is absolutely key. He's always exploring new things, learning from experts, and pushing those boundaries of what's possible in cybersecurity and AI.
And that's really inspiring.
It is. It reminds us that the future of cybersecurity and AI is in the hands of people who are willing to adapt, to learn, and to keep innovating.
And with how fast these fields are moving, the opportunities are endless.
Absolutely.
So there you have it. We've walked through those essential certifications, we dove into those emerging technologies, and we helped you build a roadmap to transition from cybersecurity to AI. Now it's your turn to take the wheel.
It's an exciting journey, that's for sure.
It is. And remember, the future of AI and cybersecurity, it's being shaped right now. So embrace the challenge, jump in, and become a leader in this incredible field.
The future is waiting.
Hello, my name is Stephen Pullum. I want to talk about a journey I hope you find very beneficial to you in your cybersecurity career that I've actually undertook myself after 40 years basically in the cybersecurity field, beginning in basically 1984 and retiring out of Pentagon in 2012. I decided to undertake more in depth some technology I was exposed to in that time. And that is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, as we all know, began in the 1950s with Alan Turing. So it's been around. It's been around even in your daily activities since the millennium, prior to millennium, certain sectors. Every time you said hello Siri, every time you said hey Google, every time you said Alexa, that's artificial intelligence. A lot of people don't realize that. And that is the education that's been denied to unrepresented and under and other demographics that they need to know that artificial intelligence is not some new thing that they've been exposed to it all while. But on the cybersecurity side, I want to really engage you for the next 15, 20 minutes on how AI is going to impact our career, our craft. How important is AI to cybersecurity? Extremely. When we began the cybersecurity field in the mid-'80s with the Rainbow books and trusted security modeling and mainframes and things of that nature, we never imagined it would come to this point it is now. Threat hunting was a lot easier. There wasn't any commercial internet. The internet basically was confined to Auto Digital Network between the military installation base, and basically was used for a nuclear attack and nuclear response. As it migrated past the millennium, when we got past Y2K, commercial internet became available. Routers and switches became firewalls. Firewalls became content filters. Email systems became, from dumb terminals, became Exchange. Well, before Exchange, you had Lotus, you had Novell, GroupWise. So a lot of this technology has been around for 20, 25 years, quarter of a century. But the technology, there's still the same amount of ports. The methodologies have changed. AI stands on the preface of changing everything we know and we've created. It will take all the information we've created, ingest it, digest it, and regurgitate it to us faster with threat models and threat vectors we've never even imagined. And as we get more close to AGI, sentientness, and the singularity, it's going to be more and more and more of a threat. The threat is not AI itself. It is like any tool. The threat is going to be the misuse of AI. If you go into the dark web, you have Ghost GPT, a lot of GPTs out there. That's how criminals are purchasing today. And so because of that, the mindset of cybersecurity AI needs to be just a little bit different. So one would say, how does one break into AI? I've never been a proponent of the word break because you can't break into cybersecurity. Break implies a thief versus hard work. I didn't break into cybersecurity. No one can break into cybersecurity. You got to earn your stripes. You're going to get your boots dirty. You're going to do the grunt work. And I think the term break into is to imply that you're breaking into a bank and you're going to make all this money and generational wealth. That's not possible. So how you break into AI, I've laid out a plan that is both technical, both societal, vendor, and ethical. So the money in AI is going to come from auditing. And let me tell you firsthand that most of the auditors that are in AI right now come from the legal side. They really don't have a good grasp of what auditing is from a cybersecurity perspective. They don't have a good grasp of continuous monitoring from a cybersecurity perspective. They don't have data center backgrounds. They're not OSI model background people. They're not layer 2, layer 3. They don't have no idea. They're basically what I'm seeing, and no ding to them. They're lawyers. Some of the certifications that are out there, I think I've got majority of them. My last one is the AIGP from IAPP, the Artificial Intelligence Governance Professional, and that governance is not the same governance that cybersecurity thinks of. So we're going to have a meeting of the minds because legal people and cybersecurity, enterprise, networking are going to have to get together and try to figure out how to have a meeting to understand what governance is to the enterprise. Give you an example. I come from, you probably never heard of this, the Baldrige assessment, to DITSCAP, to DICAP, to DIERMF, to continuous monitoring. So I've been through that, and I've been the deputy program manager for governance and information assurance for Office of Secretary of Defense. I know governance, I know information assurance, and I know continuous monitoring. I've seen it from its inception in the Department of Defense and the federal government. And I'm the first to tell you that the continuous monitoring that's going to be required for cybersecurity is not the continuous monitoring that legal. Let me give an example. You have an agentic agent that you're using in your enterprise. And when I say this, I want you to think on the lines of a SQL database. Because to us in the cybersecurity world, all AI is another piece of software sitting on servers in the data center, right? Gathering data in a database, distributed, whatever you're using, AWS, whatever. So you have a SQL database, and the data is hashed to a certain amount of surety. You know that this right here is a database. Somebody adds the number 1, it's no longer the same database. You have to rehash it. That is going to be the premise of AI. Except that database is going to be continuously changing by people asking questions, getting answers, and the database is going to change. And you're going to have something that's going to continuously monitor those changes, because some of those changes can be unethical, prejudicial, biased, and actually harmful. I think the new threat vector is going to be able to go in and crack those LLMs and then make it output data you don't want it to, like social security numbers, things like that are going to be contained within, or the LLM is going to have hooks into your corporate data, and someone's going to craft a prompt or whatever and go into your corporate data. I'll give you an example. So they're saying that the AI agent is, let's say, like you was in Active Directory, and it has only properties for HR. And someone crafts a prompt to get into HR, and HR's version of the agent is able to go into financial records and or move things from the CFO. So now you crafted a prompt. Now, see, this whole methodology is nothing new. We used to call it botnets. It's the same thing, botnets. So, how will AI affect at-risk populations? So, two main things I wanted to bring up. The first one I already mentioned is literacy. Literacy. Look how long it took. If you remember that the first time that the industry tried to engage at-risk populations with technology on a mass scale was Cisco. Cisco began in the 1990s, the Cisco Networking Academy in community colleges, because they saw the opportunity to bring technology that's going to be required of learning to the workforce. And workforce development is critical and crucial, because AI is not going to replace anybody. Somebody using AI is going to replace somebody. So that's an at-risk population. Populations always have the tendency to get a hold of the tech, and without proper guidance, that tech always gets misused. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So that the tech always gets misused. People thought, Blackberries are one thing, smartphones will never make it to the general population, and Walmart started selling them. T-Mobile and Boost Mobile. Technology is going to get to the population. They thought the internet was going to be wrapped up, and AOL started sending CDs by the thousands to people. So the populations are going to get the technology. The second part of the risk is going to be resources. Resources are going to be tremendous. Unless you're someone using resources like DeepSeek in China, who just beat all our US models, open source. But the resource of these data centers are going to consume water. We're cyber people, so we know how much data centers consume. Well, AI is going to require a god-awful amount of power. And that power has got to come from somewhere. And I can say, as a Texan, power grids get tapped. The Stargate project is going to Abilene, and they're going to come up with new power infrastructure methodologies. So one of the questions I have is, how does social media like TikTok impact community with AI? Just using TikTok as an example, the employment dynamic has shifted with social media outside of Facebook. If you want to go back peer-to-peer with LimeWire and Pirate Bay and stuff like that. But the employment and monetization of, rumors and things of that nature is now becoming a career path. So if you look at the term social influencer, an influencer is somebody who persuades somebody else to come to their way of thinking outside of what they may have already thought or concerning what you're thinking, and that's being monetized. That is a cybersecurity risk within itself, because you don't have filters to say what can and cannot be monetized. Now, yeah, they have those filters in Facebook and TikTok and things like that, but we're talking dark web stuff, and we in cybersecurity live on the dark web. So a rogue version of TikTok, and I read this the other day, that TikTok phones are going for $3,000 on eBay if you have a already installed broken phone that uses TikTok. So those things are going to impact the community in ways that some of the things that we're going to put out are going to be dangerous. And then what I mean by the entire community, I don't look at just black and brown, but the entire community, global community. So you're going to have an increase in OnlyFans type pages. some pretty depraved stuff is going to be done with AI, and they're not going to be real people. So you can't prosecute them because it's depicting an act, but that act is not of real people. Now, that's going to be a legal issue, but if you think about that, that's going to impact us a lot, right? So they can say, I made this video of these two, let's say hypothetical minors doing something. I watched this, not me, but the person says they arrest them for having all this stuff on the computer, but it's not real people, right? So what law was violated? We're going to be, it used to be a time when I got my CISSP in 2002, you were called in as a subject matter expert. You as a CISSP, I don't know if they still do that in 2002. Back then, your certification meant that you was a lawyer, a doctor, you could be called in as a subject matter expert, as to me, on cybersecurity. And that's going to be one of the questions going forward with AI we're going to have to look at is, what is the boundary between the act and the act portraying live people? And how do we take that data off of our systems without impacting the system? Will AI further the gap between Black and brown communities in education and job opportunities? This is going to be contrary to the popular thought. I'm going to say no, right? AI is not going to further the gap. Matter of fact, AI gives us an opportunity right now to close the gap. Let me give you a perfect example. If more Black and brown communities would have embraced the internet into schools in our communities around the year 2000, we'd have a more educated population. Period, dot, point blank. If we would have engaged more of, instead of playing cards and spades and hearts and solitaire, took that same technology as it was emerging and brought it into our school systems. If the school didn't accept it, put it into our community centers, then we'd have a more educated population. I actually remember some churches was taking their dinner hall and putting in laptops and trying to teach people how to use the internet, the elderly population. That didn't take off. So it's not going to widen the gap, because now we're at the preface of another industrial revolution, the fifth industrial revolution, and we can do the same thing that we could have did 25 years ago. So it's not going to widen the gap. The gap gets widened by latency, procrastination, and blaming. If you put all that energy into actionable items, and actionable engagement with our community, we could change the world. But in my opinion, we're going to wait to do these things until somebody else does them and become perfected at it, and then complain that we never had a chance. Well, we have the chance right now. Right now. They're going to invest billions into this thing. They're going to have to. And there's still laws out there that says small business get a big chunk of it. I'm on the National Small Business Association Leadership Council. I am also 100% disabled vet, so I'm also an SD, so disabled veteran-owned small business. I know how these contracts are going to come out. And so I'm just giving fair warning. It's not going to, we can stop with the statistics about this and this and this and this. Let's stop putting that energy and trying to find statistics to blame, and start putting that energy into engaging the communities to change. Let's have a new slogan: no blame, just change. No blame, just change. And we can do that as a community. All right. What defines AI leadership? Leadership has never been defined by monetary gain. Having a bunch of money does not make you a leader. It makes you lucky, right? Because if everybody had $1 million, $1 million is not $1 million. Leadership in AI is going to be those who have the vision to help our communities, the whole communities, the global communities go forward. That's going to be leadership. There's not going to be a MLK of AI, but we're putting focus on who the leaders are based on their money. Well, let me say this. In our communities globally, I've been to a lot of places on the earth that just horrible. All right. And even our own United States of America. I think that leadership goes into the community and tries to make change. Those unsung heroes, the ones who are on the front lines. But first, leadership has to identify what is actually the demographics in the algorithm. Homeless are not included in the algorithm. AI basically right now is for folks who can afford it. I mean, on your phone and stuff like that, but AI at home, who can afford it? Because you're using it on a laptop, either at home or Starbucks or somewhere. That means you have computing technology. You're not living on the streets of Kensington, Philadelphia. You're not in Skid Row. You're not walking in the South Sudan. You're not doing all these things. Those people need to be in the algorithm as well. So when we're talking about disparaged, underrepresented communities, think about who you're not representing before you say underrepresented. Because if you're picking and choosing of who's not being represented, you're as guilty as the people who's doing it as well. So I am putting out a new blueprint for AI to cybersecurity. I'm working on that. As soon as I finalize this last AI certification, I don't know how many I've done. I got so many on LinkedIn, I just lost count. And the reason why I did it was because 3 years ago, I started being like Peter in the Wilderness, saying, hey, I've had my decades in cybersecurity. This is going to change the genre and the dynamic. This is going to change the dynamic. And if you're focusing on your next upgrade, your next pay grade in cybersecurity, and you're not looking at, let me give an example, because I was around when SIMs and SIEMs and all that got big. I remember when Cisco Works 2000 came out. I remember when Splunk came out. I remember when Snort came out. I remember when we did all these things. And all these things are precursors to what is to come. And I forgot who said it. If you don't learn from history, you are doomed to repeat it. So let's take some time, engage our communities. All of us are leaders. Anytime you see that child and you have a little cybersecurity knowledge, remember this: that which you impart, you shall return. And I want to thank you for giving this opportunity once again. I think it's 3rd year straight. But remember this: if I don't make a lot of conferences, I really stay a lot ahead. I do a lot of work on the background. Just don't have time. I have too much time engaging with communities and nurturing and trying to get people to understand that we have the opportunity, all of us have the opportunity right now, to change our community. Not blame. Let's just change. God bless you all, and take care and have a good conference.